Hello, everyone. So today I want to talk a little bit about faith. So sometimes in our culture we hear about faith and we think of the word meaning blind faith, but that's not what we're talking about here. And it's not what we're talking about in Buddhism. The Buddha told his followers to accept his teachings after having tested them, like a goldsmith tests a piece of gold. I found a little quote here from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He says, the Tibetan word for faith is depa, which perhaps might be closer in meaning to confidence or trust. In the Buddhist tradition, we speak of three different types of faith. The first is faith in the form of admiration that you have towards a particular person or a particular state of being. The second is aspiring faith. There is a sense of emulation. You aspire to attain that state of being. And the third type is the faith of conviction. So I also found different words people use for these. So the first one, admiration or trust, and the second, aspiring or inspirational, and the third, conviction or confidence. And a little thing I found in Wikipedia, in the context of religion, one can define faith as confidence or trust in a particular system of religious belief, within which faith may equate to confidence based on some perceived degree of warrant, in contrast to a definition of faith as being belief without evidence. So it's the first kind of faith we're talking about here. And then I have 3 verses here from Nagarjuna's Precious Garland. Because one has faith, one partakes of the Dharma. Because one has wisdom, one truly understands. Of these two, wisdom is the foremost, but faith must come first. One who does not neglect the Dharma through desire, anger, fear, or confusion should be known as one with faith, a supreme vessel of the highest good. A wise person is one who, having accurately analyzed all actions of the body, speech, and mind, always acts for the benefit of self and others. And this last bit, having analyzed all actions of the body, speech, and mind, always acting for the benefit of self and others, seems to refer to contemplating the teachings on what to practice and having gained an understanding and a confidence in the results based on that understanding, put the practice into teaching, the teachings into practice for the benefit of oneself and others. So he says that faith must come first, but as we gain wisdom, that faith also grows and becomes stronger. And so what do we need to have faith in? The Buddha, his teachings on what to practice and what to abandon, the results of those practices and our abilities to actualize or accomplish those results, and our teachers who convey the Buddha's teachings to us. So I have one more verse quote here. It's the third verse of the 37 practices of Bodhisattvas. By avoiding bad objects, disturbing emotions gradually decrease. Without distraction, virtuous activities naturally increase. With clarity of mind, conviction in the teaching arises. Cultivate seclusion. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. And when I first started coming around here, and I first heard this verse here, this verse inspired me to really take the teachings and practicing them a lot more serious and put them into practice in my life and see what results I could actualize. So I was starting with a certain level of faith based perhaps on admiration of the qualities that are talked about in the teachings, such as internal peace and joy and kindness towards others. And I wanted to rid myself of disturbing emotions and actualize these virtuous qualities So I tested the teachings by putting them into practice as best I could manage. And I've been happier because of this. I can't say that my practice has been exceptional or anything, but what results I have had, I've felt a lot of benefit from. I'm happier, I treat others better than I used to, and I try to act upon the principles that I believe in more than I was doing in the past. So I've gradually developed a faith of conviction through seeing the results of my own practice and seeing change in others around me and seeing the qualities being manifest in others. And as I slowly increase my understanding of the teachings, then I'm able to see the logical arguments behind the teachings, arguments that support my conviction. But in a big way, my faith has been based on my own experience and what this change I've seen in myself and others. And to see that what I practice works. So I've been trying to come up with an example of faith in a mundane sense, just as an example. So imagine that you didn't know anything about plants and you saw the big Doug fir tree outside here. Maybe you admire its beauty, it's so tall, and has a really nice form. And then you think, maybe it would be nice to have a tree like this in my yard, at home. And then someone whose word you can trust, maybe a friend that you've known a while, offers you a handful of these tiny seeds and tells you that this tiny seed is what this big tree came from. This is amazing. It really is amazing to see the seeds that big tree came from. But having some faith in your friend's word, you take the seeds home and you plant them. And you want to grow a Doug fir tree in your yard. Now, I've planted lots of seeds, kale, and broccoli, and spinach, and carrots, and tomatoes, and garden stuff. But I've never, and I know Doug fir trees come from this little seed, but I've never planted them, and I've never witnessed this. I've seen tiny little seedlings, and I've watched them grow over the years to be bigger trees. I wasn't around when that one was a baby. And I know that Doug fir trees come from these little seeds. And although I have a valid and unshakable conviction in this, it's based on an inference. I haven't actually planted Doug fir seeds or watched them sprout. But I know that they come from seeds just like carrots and kale. And I've pulled the seeds out of the cones myself. I actually had one and I forgot to bring it off that tree. And so I know what these seeds look like, and I don't have any doubt about that the Doug firs come from them. But if I were to get some pots and gather some seeds and plant them, I might still have some doubts about getting a tree out of it. Did I gather viable seed? Was it mature enough? Was it in the heat too long? Am I giving it the right conditions to sprout and grow? So then there could still be doubt in my mind about this. But once I get some sprouts and grow some seedlings, my conviction becomes much more solid. So we hear about the virtuous qualities and virtuous and joyful qualities that come from practicing the Dharma. And we see these qualities manifest in people who have practiced. And we develop some faith and admiration in those qualities and those who cultivate them. And admiring these qualities, we aspire to develop them and cultivate them within ourselves. And then as we notice some changes within ourselves and as we put the teachings in practice, we gain a stronger conviction that the Buddha and our teachers have indeed properly shown us what to practice and what to abandon. And as we continue in our practice, our faith grows stronger as we see more and more results. I think being Westerners, we want to focus a lot on the faith of conviction, but these other two forms of faith are also very important. And although my faith of conviction has some rational basis, it's very experiential based. I have conviction because of what I've experienced and seen. But admiration and aspiration are both also very important. So faith is multifaceted, and we need to look at what it means in our own lives and how our own practice, what has happened with us through our own practice, and let our faith be grounded in